Hold on a second. Why does living in Canada, the land of maple syrup, peaceful streets, and polite neighbors, feel more expensive every year? We're not talking about buying the newest iPhone or treating yourself to a fancy dinner. We're talking about the basics: milk, rent, gas. If you're living in Canada or thinking about moving here, you've probably felt the pinch. So, what's really driving the rising cost of living? Let's break it down and uncover the truth behind why your wallet feels lighter these days. First, what does cost of living even mean? Simply put, it's how much money you need to maintain a basic standard of life in a specific place. This includes housing, food, transportation, utilities, healthcare, education, and maybe a Tim Hortons coffee or two. If you're spending more to live the same life you had before, the cost of living has gone up. Easy, right? But here's the catch. The cost of living doesn't hit everyone equally. Take Bob, for example. He lives in Toronto and pays $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Meanwhile, someone living in Moncton can cover rent, groceries, and still have enough left for a Friday night pizza, all for the same amount. Now let's talk about the biggest expense: housing. Over the past few years, home prices in Canada have skyrocketed, especially in cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The problem? Demand for homes has far outpaced supply. Imagine 100 people lining up for only 20 chairs. What happens? Prices jump, and some people get left standing. Even if you're not buying, rents follow the same trend. And when rent eats up half your paycheck, saving money or investing for the future gets nearly impossible. Let's move on to groceries. Ever left a Canadian grocery store wondering how you spent $150 on just a few bags? You're not alone. Food prices have climbed, and one big reason is imported inflation. Canada imports a lot of its produce and packaged goods. If the Canadian dollar weakens against the US dollar, imported goods become more expensive. And guess who picks up the tab? Yep, Bob does. And you do too. Then there's transportation. Owning a car in Canada isn't cheap. Fuel, insurance, maintenance, it all adds up. And if you live far from work or in a town without solid public transit, your expenses skyrocket. Gas prices, in particular, have been on a roller coaster, influenced by global supply issues, conflicts, environmental policies, and, of course, taxes. Bob thought about switching to an electric car, until he saw the price tag and decided to stick with his bike. Now let's talk about inflation. It's easy to blame inflation for everything, but it's only part of the story. Canada's overall inflation rate has hovered around 2 to 4% in recent years. That might sound low, but when inflation hits essentials like food, rent, and fuel, it really stings. It's like your average report card says you're passing, but you're failing the classes that matter most. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept up. If your rent goes up 10%, but your salary only increases by 2%, you're falling behind. You're working the same, maybe harder, but it feels like your money doesn't stretch as far, and not everyone feels it the same way. For people with lower incomes or families to support, the rising cost of living hits harder. Those who own property or have higher incomes have a bit more breathing room. As a result, many Canadians are rethinking their lifestyles. Some are leaving major cities and moving to smaller towns. Others are putting off home ownership altogether. So, what is the government doing? The Bank of Canada tries to control inflation by adjusting interest rates. When prices rise too quickly, they raise rates to cool things down, discouraging borrowing and slowing spending. But it's a delicate balance. Raise rates too much, and the economy slows down too much, leading to job losses. Lower them too far, and inflation takes off again. It's like riding a bike while balancing a tray of drinks. lean too far in either direction, and everything spills. So, what's the real truth about the cost of living in Canada? Yes, it's rising, but it's not random. Behind it are complex forces: housing shortages, global supply chains, currency fluctuations, and policies. Understanding what's driving the cost of living doesn't magically fix it, but it gives you power. You can make smarter choices, plan better, and adjust how and where you spend your money. Bob's still in Toronto and still wondering how bread costs $9. But at least now he knows why. If this video helped you understand what's really happening with the cost of living in Canada, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's also feeling the squeeze. See you in the next video.